Hi guys, welcome to Di's Crafty Corner. Today I'm going to show you and talk about the Daniel Smith Extra Fine Watercolor Dot. Is that what this is called? The sample, the dot samples, I think is what it's called. Now, as you guys know, I've been really into watercolor lately, and I've been learning everything I can teach myself about watercolor. And with that being said, I really wanted to try these samples and start collecting a small palette. I'm thinking maybe 12, maybe 12 to 20 colors is what I'm thinking of the Daniel Smith paints. You know, it ranges in price from $6 to $15 a tube. So it's a little pricey, and I fell in love with them. If you guys remember, I fell in love with this paint from a sample pack of 4 that I received from Simon Says Stamp. And those 4 colors just absolutely blew me away. So I've been trying a lot of other watercolors since then, and I really wanted to get this. I did the 240 dot sample sheets, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do them. So I got this because I want to see all the colors, and then from that sample that I'm going to be putting together, I'll be able to pick my favorites, and then I'll just start slowly picking up a tube here and there, you know, with whatever else I might get for the month, or, you know, stuff like that, until I get a nice arrangement of them, and then I'll figure out the palette situation at that point. Now, the other reason I got this is because, you know, I'm primarily a card maker, right? This is a lot of ink for me, right? That's a lot of ink. So my idea is I'm going to use a paintbrush, and I'm going to just get some color off of the thinnest part of each dot, saving this for projects. I'm actually going to use this. You know me. If I buy something, I'm either going to use it or pass it along. You know how I am. But I don't want to use this as my sample sheet that I'm going to keep. So I was searching for how other people have done this, and Sandy Allnock, which you guys know I love, had the idea that I thought would work best for me. So this is what I've decided to do. So I'm going to leave this just as is, right? I'm going to be using this to actually paint different things on cards and stuff after I've done my samples. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of cardstock. Well, let me go through and show you the colors first. So this is sheet number 1. I'm going to turn it kind of sideways so you can kind of see. Aren't they beautiful? I'll be showing you the samples when I get them done. I'm just not going to do that on film because it'll take me forever. So that's sheet number 1. It comes with 4 sheets. And then I'll show you what I've done here. This is sheet number 2, which appears to be browns and dark greens. Beautiful, right? I cannot wait to actually see these. Sheet number 3, greens and purples and teals. Now there was one that was blank, and it says it was left blank on purpose. Right here. Right there, so there's no color right there. Intentionally left blank, it says. But there's all the greens, indigos, purples, teals. What a great way to find out which of the greens you like best, you know? So of course I'm going to be starting with the primary mixable colors first, right? But you don't have, you know, there's more than one color you can pick for that. And then these are more the blacks, dark browns, blacks, and then all of the shimmer or iridescent or glittery type of watercolors. And oh my gosh, I can tell you already a few of these look, just stuck my hand in my water, look amazing. Can you guys see that? So I cannot wait to see what that looks like. All right, so now for how I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you guys that, and then I'll come back. Let's start right here. right, so what I decided to do is I'm going to be, of course, using these, right? I told you that. I want to use these for some projects. Why waste them, right? But that's not how I want to sample the paint. I don't want to just smear it on here. Now this gives you all the information that you need to know about each one of these paints except for its actual number. You know, watercolor is assigned, or it's made with pigment colors that are done in numbers. It's been that way for thousands of years, right? So, or 1,000 years, I think. But Daniel Smith has every one of these colors with their actual numbers. So some of these numbers may have one number, or it may have 3 numbers, right? I want to also have those numbers with my sample, with my sheet, you know, not with my sample sheet, but with the piece of paper that has all these names, right? So this basically, it tells you how transparent it is, the color information, which isn't the actual number per se that's made up of. You need to get that from her website. The light rating, whether it's excellent or there's no rating, or it's staining granulation, which means whether it's, you know, whether it looks a little gritty on your paper, transparency, and then it also tells you which one is a Primatech, which is a unique color made with authentic mineral pigments, which, how exciting is that, guys? So I want to keep all this information as well. So the first thing I did is I just copied that black and white on a piece of paper, and that's something I'm going to store with this other sheet that I made. So let me show you that. So I just copied it in black and white. So I have all of the words that I need that's going to show me things later. So I'm going to keep this in with this in a pocket, back to back, just like that. Okay, and on this piece of paper, I'm going to write the numbers of the pigment, you know, the YR32 or whatever it is. I'm going to write that on this piece of paper for me to keep. This piece of paper is a piece of cardstock, just normal cardstock, cheap cardstock, that I did the same thing. I printed it on there, and then I cut down 1/2-inch strips of watercolor paper, my favorite watercolor paper, and I used my tape runner and I taped them on. So there are 10 lines of 10 lines of color. So I'm going to be testing them above each of the all I have showing is just the name of the color. So I'm going to be testing them just on each of these colors with the tiniest bit of paint, right? And then I left myself 2 lines at the bottom that have little stars on them, where I'm from this going to start pulling my favorite colors that I want to purchase, or the colors that I want to purchase from this sheet on these 2 sheets, on these 2 lines on the bottom. So that's where I'm going to figure out the tubes that I want to get, is from what I pull from here down here. All right. And then I will always have this in a sleeve in a book where I can turn to it and know what I want to use, or what I might want to buy either now or hopefully years from now. I'm hoping this will stay intact for years. Okay. So that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I will come back and show you as I get started and show you what it looks like when I'm all done. So the reason that I've decided for this particular, to try this particular one, I purchased some other paints. I have the Peerless system, the Peerless watercolor papers, and I've used them. I like them a lot. I really do like them a lot. I just can't get past, my brain will not get past those 4 little samples I got from Simon Says Stamp, and how brilliant that card was. Let me grab that for you real quick. Actually, I'll grab all 4 of these. And that's why I want to have some of those tubes of Daniel Smith, but I don't want to purchase all of them. And what better way to find out which colors are going to work best for me and my vision of what I'm doing right now than to see them all in action. So that's what I'm going to do. But these are, I made this with the sample from the Simon Says Stamp Card Club kit. And I'm just telling you, those colors blew me away. Not just the colors, but the transparency, which is something this watercolor is known for. And I am not a watercolorist. Please know that. I am not even close. But I absolutely loved it. So this was done with the Daniel Smith samples that I was sent. This was done with the Gamsey Tammy watercolors, right? Super pretty, right? Just doesn't have the same look. You know what I'm saying? Still pretty. I love these too. I use them. This one was done with the Peerless. Super pretty, very vibrant. Super easy to use. I really like them. I don't think they're as transparent as the other ones, but I've only, I haven't used all the colors yet, so I'll let you know when I dive into it a little more. And then this one was done with the Jane Davenport set of watercolors. And again, I just think that's beautiful too. Now, Jane Davenport, Daniel Smith has an entire line, and I've got that written down, of paints that Daniel Smith made. So, I mean, Daniel Smith has a Jane Davenport lineup, if you will, of colors that represent Jane Davenport's color palette. So I'm going to be looking at those as well. But I just thought that was super pretty also. And again, very transparent in areas. This green I actually made myself, mixing colors, and the orange color I used in here I mixed myself. So they have an orange, but I mixed it myself. So I'm playing around with the mixing of colors as well. But like I said, absolutely cannot get over those colors. They're just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's why I did this. So I'm going to get started with the process. I will be back in a little while and show you guys how it's looking. And yeah, we'll talk then. All right. All right. So here's my first line. And as you can see, I am hardly messing with the dots at all. I'm just taking my brush, collecting some paint, leaving it pretty much intact, because that way I'm going to be able to go back and pull from this and be able to do a lot of projects with just this little bit of paint while I figure out which ones I really like. But aren't they beautiful? Wow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up this page, and then I will show you what this looks like and what this looks like. All right, so I've got the first page swatched. Guys, I cannot begin to tell you how much fun this is. I'm having the absolute best time. I'm going to go over my thoughts at the end, but I just wanted to show you. See, I still have all that paint left to work with on little card projects. That's amazing. It's going to be amazing. And I've got my first page of swatches all done. Now these that you can hardly see, that's because they're very transparent, that they're, they have the highest rating of transparency. So isn't that gorgeous? I already have favorites, believe it or not, but like I said, I'll go over that when I'm all done. So yeah, so that's the first page done. I'm going to set this aside to, this is pretty much already dry, but I'm going to set this aside so all my little dots dry really good, and then I'm going to put a piece of wax paper over it, and I'm going to save it until I want to play. And then I will go in tonight and I will sit down and write all the numbers on the piece of paper that go with it, so that I can have the actual numbers of the mixes as well. Isn't that gorgeous, guys? Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I am so in love already with so many. It's going to be a hard one to figure out. All right, I'm going to continue on, and I will show you the rest of them when I'm all done, and then give you my thoughts. I've completed all of my sample pages, and I wanted to show you how much ink is still left on all of these. So here is this was actually page 4. And as you can see, there's still a ton of ink on there left for me to play with. This was page 1. Still a ton of ink. So I just patiently took my time and did this because I really wanted to enjoy the process And I also wanted to preserve as much paint that was left on here so that I can play a little bit with it. And here's the other one. Still a ton of ink left to play with, or paint. And then here are the sample pages that I made. So here's the first one, which I showed you guys already. Beautiful colors. I switched about maybe here from a 6 to an 8. From the 6 to an 8, just because it held a little more water, and I was able to get a better. I felt like I was not quite getting the watercolor effect up here. It's super pretty. Here are the browns, the neutrals, I guess you could call. Really pretty. I really like some of these as well. The greens and the turquoise and purples. This is the one that was left out that wasn't on there. And this one, this cobalt green pale, I had the hardest time. That one that's just the way it turned out. It just wouldn't pick up. Same thing with this imperial purple. And can you see this amethyst has glitter, like little shimmer in it? So does this one down here. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it up or not. And then here's the last page that has all of the, can you see that? Look at that. Look at those. I'm telling you guys. I didn't think that when I saw these on there, I wouldn't be interested in any of those. I'm interested in some of those, guys. I'm just saying. The duochrome colors, like this one, the emerald, is gorgeous. The turquoise, aquamarine, so many of them. Now these, the iridescence, when you put those on, it's like that, it's like the little pigments all set right on top of the water. You could see them dancing around on the top of the water before they sunk into the paper. It was so cool. Aren't they pretty? Super pretty. So those were super pretty. The blacks and the blacks and the dark. I really actually like a couple of the browns, and I think so far my favorite in the black category is probably the Payne's Gray, because I think that would be black enough for me, and I could gray it out for elephants and stuff, because you guys know I like to do elephants quite a bit. So super pretty. Of course, you can't see the whites at all. I can see them, but I don't think you'll be able to see them. So yeah, so I've got perfectly good samples now so that I can pick from and hold on to for quite a long time. And guys, I still have plenty of these enough paint on these little dots that I can do some projects with. So I'm very happy with this process, and I was very happy to do it, and also to play with it. You know, I really took my time and experienced the color, how it laid down, and yeah, I think it's a great way for us to learn more about these watercolors, or any watercolors if there are samples like this, you know, to play with them and see about transparency, about granulation, about how it lays down on actual watercolor paper, and learning about the colors. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down tonight and I'm going to write down all of the colors that make up these colors on this sheet, and then I'm going to store these together in a book, and later in the week I'll just be playing with these. I've already, with all the paint that I had left over on my brush, I made some backgrounds, some cool little backgrounds. I didn't waste anything is what I'm trying to say. So I have some backgrounds to play with already, because I didn't just wash the brush out. I would go ahead and take it to some watercolor paper. So I'm super excited, and all of this started from those 4 little samples. So yeah, super cool. I cannot wait. I'm gonna like I said, play with it a little bit, play with it with some projects and do a few things and really make up my mind, and then I'm going to start putting some of my favorites down here, and then I'll go from there. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you also get a chance to play with these. If you do, leave me a comment below and let me know what you think, what you thought about them. And as usual, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.